You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Well, the thing is I know you can handle the truth. Let's get into this, folks. We're going to have partisan conflict. It's coming quicker and quicker all the time. And it is partisan. It's going to be started by the Obamas. Actually, it already has been started by the Obamas. Has it not? I remember growing up and hearing that, you know, when we finally get a black president in the United States of America, that'll mean the end of racism, that America has grown up, that we're all mature now, and we look to people's qualities, you know, the content of their character, not the color of their skin. You know, all that Martin Luther King Jr. good stuff. And then what happens? Well, they throw Obama out there, you know, a clean, articulate guy, and they put him in office. And what does he do? What happens? Where does it go from there? I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like any of this stuff, folks. I don't like what these bastards have done. The bastard sons of Martin Luther King's failed efforts. The reason I say Martin Luther King failed is because look where we're at in this country. We have a completely divided effort to unite as Americans. When Trayvon Martin was killed by a Hispanic American, we were told that that was a hate crime against blacks, and then Obama made it worse. He said, yeah, he could have been a son of mine. And that seemed to have started a whole new episode of absolutely out of control racial bullshit. But it really does not belong just in America. It's being played out around the world, different countries, different races. You know, we're told that there's racial hatred and racism and prejudice against blacks in America. But we see in other countries like South Africa, where it's completely the exact opposite. Anyways, let's get into the Obamas. The bastard sons, the Obamas. Because that's what they are. You know, they started that crap. After that, right, what did we get? We got a bunch of BLM crap, Black Lives Matter. We got the black militant groups resurfacing, the Black Panthers, as well as the group that was marching and challenging white people to come out. And then we had the St. George Floyd incident, which resulted in over $4 billion in damage. The loss of lives, jobs, businesses, dreams, retirements, hopes, and resulted in the murder and torture and looting of America. And who benefited? The Democrat Party benefited. Right? You ask who benefited? Key bono? There you go. That's who benefited. Now, why am I saying this is a problem? Obama, he's been gone since 2016, John. Come on, man. You still blaming that guy? It's like blaming Trump for the economy or blaming Trump for anything. Well, we know that Obama is in charge of old man Joe. Joe still calls him the president. You know, I think it's respectful to call a president the president even when their term has expired. But when you are the president, right, well, I guess we got to give Joe a break. He's also said Kamala's the president. Now, let me continue with the problem we have. Several days ago, I reported to you that Senator Ted Cruz says the Democrats are going to airdrop Michelle Obama into the presidency. They're gonna send in the savior balloon of another Obama, Michelle, who is basically a defrocked attorney, a failed attorney, a nobody. She is nothing more than a media darling who will not look into who she is and what she is and why she is the way she is. You get my drift. It came out today, or rather yesterday, depends on what time zone you're in, that Sarah Palin, former vice presidential candidate or even presidential candidate for the Republicans, she came out and said the same thing. Said the Democrats are going to run Michelle Obama. And Michelle Obama is an incredibly divisive bitch. Incredibly divisive, hate-filled bitch, in my opinion. And I think we're going to get more of the same. You know, since Obama left office, and since Trump was elected, and since Joe has been elected into the office of the president, we have seen the horrifying return of racist behavior. In fact, I'm going to submit to you that it's gotten worse. But it is not worse against blacks. It's actually gone the opposite way. As critical race theory was basically dumped on everyone's heads, we were all told we're racist, whether we know it or not, believe it or not, like it or not. We're all told that we're racist and we're prejudiced, and there's nothing you can do about it except accept it and then suck up, right? To every black person you know, and saying, well, I got black friends, I know black people, what the hell, why am I a racist? That doesn't count. Nope, that doesn't do you a bit of good. As long as you say you aren't, you are. In fact, it makes it even worse. There's no way out of this. It is a fool's errand to try and get out of their accusations, because their accusations are baseless anyways. It's like arguing with a toddler when you argue with someone about whether or not you're racist. When they make race their entire platform, of course they're not going to back out. So what we have here is we have a serious issue with Michelle Obama and the Democrat Party and race in this country. Now, if you want, you can go find stories where, people are killing each other, accidents happen, or violence happens, and you can find instances where people of different races are involved. But I think we're seeing more and more of black on other race violence. Right? We kept hearing that there was this anti-Asian violence out there, and then we kept finding out for some reason it was blacks that were having a problem. And see, here's the deal. It's not all the blacks. It's not all the black Americans, brown Americans, white Americans, Asian Americans, right? It's not the whiteys, right? It's some people within these organizations or within these subgroups. I'll actually use the word organization. I like that the best because they bought into the propaganda. They bought into this idea that race is systemic because it's been created that way. A lot of people might be afraid to talk about this topic. I'm really not afraid to talk about it because I think it's a political agenda and it's a politically motivated setup. And I think people are exploiting it. And I don't know too many people, in fact, I don't know any that are going to argue with me, but I'm sure there are people out there who would argue with me that don't know me. That's fine. But I expect, folks, in 2024, that they're going to run Michelle Obama as president, and she's going to bring race to the forefront. She's going to bring race to the forefront. They try bringing race to the forefront with Kamala, but no one cares about Kamala. And they're like, well, it's misogyny then. It's like, no one cares. We don't have time to believe any of your shit. We're too busy paying high inflation and high interest rates just to get through the fucking month. In fact, I interviewed a young person who believes they should have their student debt loan forgiven because they'll never get ahead in life as a result of everything going on. I said, well, it's a whole lot more than your student loan. You've just begun to fight the fucking battle. Anyways, I digress. Race is going to become an issue, folks, and it is the Obamas who are pushing it. It is. They needed this. Now, is it just the Obamas? No, it's around the world. It's around the world. But here in America, this is, where we live, and you can see a lot of this playing out. South Africa, the blacks are killing whites, or trying to. There's racially motivated attacks, there's religiously motivated attacks. It's all happening. Why is it happening? Because people are being pitted against one another. Right? There's divide and conquer. You show a different person and you accuse them of something. What are they doing, folks? In America, they're showing us white people and accusing us of being slave owners. No, the descendants of slave owners. Just as bad, just as unforgivable. And as soon as you've been accused of being one of these, descendants of slave owners, then you no longer have any value in an argument. Nothing you say can be justified. This is what they're doing. This is how they discredit you. Now, you can say that about Kamala Harris, that she's the descendant of slave owners, and that doesn't matter, because she's black. But you can say, well, we don't think she's black. We think she's got different heritage than that. She just happens to have a good tan. You can't say that, right? Crazy stuff, folks. Crazy, crazy stuff. I really expect. So let's watch and see. Now, the persons of color that I know haven't acted or treated me any differently than they ever have. Period. Whether they're from South America or South Africa or from America, whatever. People treat me the same. Now, strangers that I meet treat me pretty good too. And I treat them well if they're persons of color. Typically a smile, a hello, and sense of humor, some friendliness goes a long ways. But I expect that there's going to be a lot more racism now and racist attacks. And I'm going to tell you that I think it's going to largely come through the Black American community. And I'll tell you why. And I'm going to end on this. Because they're being promoted. This idea, this political agenda is being promoted in schools, it's being promoted in the media, it's being promoted in entertainment, is being promoted through political circles. And when people feel like their group is being singled out, you become defensive, right? And one of the best defenses is a good offense. Right? And that's what they've been hoping for with the patriot community, is that regardless of our color, black, white, Latin, Asian, that as patriots, if they kept attacking us, we would feel attacked and attack back, and we haven't done that. Well, that's because there's this thing called intelligence. But when you go after people who are ill-educated or uneducated or ignorant, and you feed them a bunch of lies and bullshit, political propaganda based off of race hatred and division, then in a state of ignorance, if they're being told that they're being attacked or genocided or treated poorly, or the condition they're suffering under, poverty, is the result of someone else, well, then they're going to attack those someone else's, aren't they? They're going to go after other people based on race. You're not going to fucking believe this. There's a truck just pulled by. It has CRT on the door, and it's a tow truck company. The coincidences, folks. I was supposed to be talking about this. There's no coincidences. But this is important. The race division and hatred will pick up the more we have people like Michelle Obama in office, because they point to it. They point to the race, and then, right, they justify violence. It's coming. It's going to be a big component. It's already here, and it's going to become a big component. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Be good to each other, folks. Everybody, try and be good to each other. But if someone isn't being good to you, then you have to protect yourself in our country. And the people that aren't good to us are the Democrats and the rhinos. Godspeed, Semper Fi.